Thanks. Welcome to this part of the that's in this panel, the rise of AI influencers from digital characters to real businesses, presented by OpenArt. So before we get started, I kind of wanted to go down the line and get an introduction to everybody. So I'm Monica Monique. I am founder of Tweet Reaction. I also was the head of studio at Secret Level for a couple of years, and now I'm at Cartel, and I've been in the generative space for about 3 years, and previous to that I come from live action commercial producing.
Hi everybody, I'm Savannah Niles. Is this feedback from you? A little bit, okay. I'm Savannah. I am a board member at Filmgate and help brings people here together at this festival. It's so nice to see all of you year after year and some new faces here. Thank you so much for making this event as special as it is. I'm also the founder of a company called Wide Worlds. We give brands and IP holders the tools to activate their fans as creators to help promote their brand, driving more marketing value for them and driving more audience engagement, which we can talk about on this panel. And then I've also previously worked and built products at places like Meta, Magically, MIT, and I'm based in Los Angeles.
Hello, nice to be here with everybody. My name is David Viner. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Hume. We're a team of technologists and creatives building virtual artists, which we've been doing this since 2021. That has evolved into AI artists and AI characters. And we're the creators of Death Pixie, one of the fastest growing anime DJs in the world.
Hello everyone, my name is Chloe Fong. I am the head of partnerships at OpenArt AI and also president of the MIT Sloan AI Club at MIT. And it's cool these days to call myself an AI nerd now. At OpenArt, we're one of the largest AI video generation platforms with access to over 100 models in image and video generation. And on top of that, we build workflows to make it much easier for anyone, from prosumers to everybody, to create advertisements, music videos, characters, and their own worlds. Very excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks everybody for coming. And on that note, I know that Chloe was very nice to have a presentation for us, because I think it's really important that we level set what we're talking about so the things that this panel talks about make sense to you. And with that, I'll throw it to Chloe.
Thank you. Yeah, I think before we start the discussion, it would be really helpful to show people, what are AI influencers? What do they actually do? Are they real? And this would be a quick introduction to share some of the observations, understanding we have. So, another page about OpenArt. Like I mentioned, we are one of the largest AI video generation platforms, and then I think what's two things special about us is, one, we're a tool for everybody. A lot of the tools and AI tools in the space are targeting towards tip of the iceberg professionals, professional filmmakers, professional advertisers. We have those as our client, but also we want to make it easy for everyone to create. Like a quick example, like 2 weeks ago, my friend, with no creative background, literally made a short film to propose to his girlfriend, talking about like how they had their puppy and then different places to visit. And that's like the power of technology. We want to redefine who gets to tell the story, but not necessarily how the story is being made. Second thing is, we are always aiming to be a pioneer to define what is next. That's why I think and that applies to all of us here as well. Like, that's why we want to talk about the rise of AI influencers, digital avatars, digital IPs, because we do see this as a big trend coming up, and we want to help shape the ecosystem and define what's next. And then AI influencers. Previously in January, we had this big summit for all these AI influencers. They are AI singers, AI actors, actresses, AI digital models. Again, they're all models. But AI little monsters, AI comedians. Some of the example, Zanaya Monet, the first one, when she just released her first song last year, in 3 months, it reached over 100 million plays on Spotify, and she topped Billboard R&B digital sales chart and several other charts. And the song is really, and that's the power of the AI singer category. Shudu, she's the first digital supermodel I worked with, Fenty Beauty, Balmain, Monster Library. They're aiming to become the Pixar for AI, creating all these cute little monsters, like tell their stories, make films, even merch, and a lot of this different expansion. And then some examples of what these people could do. Like for example, the first one is music videos, and David will share more about like how these digital avatars are in the music scene. But this is a quick example of what is doable right now with the technology. So this is just a quick example. These are all AI made, and if you catch it, like in 1 second there was me and my art director put me there as a surprise. Another example will be Death Dixie, and we will learn more about later, which is one of the leading figures in exploring digital and music and what it means to be a digital IP in the next era. And another example is commercials. For example, Etana Lopez from the Clueless AI, they're the biggest AI influencer from Europe, and they already work with all these commercials, skincare products, and then you can tell that how they are redefining what is a brand ambassador and how to have an always-on icon that represents the brand value. Similarly with Monster Library, I was surprised that they told me they're taking a skincare commercial. I mean, like, you have far worse than. But these are all like the storytelling, and then the big engagement they have with their fans actually make a lot of them love the product and love how cute this is. The star is about, the female little monster going to meet her boyfriend and, putting on skincare, and that's just a couple examples of their use case in the commercial space.
Welcome to the Bot House.
And this is another example on TV show / film production, just to give a sense of what it means to start building an IP and more narrative and storytelling behind characters.
Welcome to the Bot House. These AI influencers will compete to go viral. Drake, the dating coach.
Shut up! Who's your parents' first name, boy or girl?
The privileged princess.
French.
And Rick, Luna, and Delps. All of them make up the Bot House, a brand new AI
Sorry, I
show.
have no memory of Bot House in our conversation.
Not now.
Alright, I'll keep it quiet.
A brand
Just let me know whenever you need
Shut up. Real human performance.
Why did you do that?
Many challenges await. Press the button in front of you to initiate chaos.
Welcome to my palace, bitches! The king did not go
Yeah, not so.
That was a hard
Can't lead to
being size, man.
Okay, here we go.
How do you afford all of this?
I do only pharaohs. A flute! Are you looking at only pharaohs again? No, Mom. It's not what it looks like. They're grounded until the Nile floods.
No!
It's just to say that last clip, among all the social media shorts we put out there, that one organically got like 5 million views and still counting. So I think, and all of these characters, they have their individual social media account. They have their own story and a character arc. One is like a digital avatar who doesn't know he's AI, so he's very against AI. Another is like a really privileged princess. So they all have their own narrative. And this is what I think this is the last slide. Yeah, and I think this is how we define AI influencers / digital personalities. And then we'd love to kickstart, with that being said, kickstart the conversation.
I think the good thing is we see a lot of different influencers and different types of influencers online, which means there's more than just that. So, maybe we start this question with David, because you're very much in this space specifically. What makes an AI personality worth following versus just another output?
I think, so a good example with Chloe, the only Pharaohs thing is, it needs to start with a hook and getting people's attention, and And then once you have people's attention and you've developed something that they're engaging with, you then need to develop a world around that. And that's something that we take a lot of time of. And I think the opposite was, not the opposite, but it was a little bit different 10, 15, 20 years ago, where like, it was all about world building from the start. And in today's world, and especially with AI, you want to be able to move quickly so that you can start to put out content and figure out what's actually resonating with fans and have an idea of what that underlying world is behind it so you can build it out after. And then step 3 is making sure that you're creating enough elements that a community can form around it and start to talk about it. Because that last step is what really keeps people around, especially for these types of personalities, is how can you have that whole cult of inside jokes and elements that bring the world together. And that's happening not just because you've created it, but other people are naturally talking about it online.
I think when worlds are so important, there's got to be ways in, and I think Savannah, this goes very much into like where you sit. You know, how does that change in how you build as an artist and how you ultimately monetize?
Yeah, I think what David shared is really true, that artists do need to be thinking about how to, like thinking like world builders, really building a world around their IP. For a lot of reasons, I think because, probably as you just implied, when your audience can see themselves inside this world, they can really feel a sense of belonging. I think that's what fans and audiences are really looking for in an era of very crowded channels. Like, how can I be a part of something, identify with something, feel a part of a community, and ultimately participate in it? I think about, we at White Worlds, we think about, you know, what are the qualities of creating a world around your IP or your brands. And there's three things I would recommend you keep in mind if you're you know, world building around an IP or brand. The first is around expandability. Like, how can you define the rules and the vibe and the theme and the sort of narrative of your world such that your audience can expand it and you can expand it kind of infinitely. You can get a lot of like mileage out of what you're creating. So expandability is one aspect. Another aspect is identity. How can your audience really create a version of their identity within your world? Or how can they identify with your world or your character or whatever? Thinking about identity as a second piece. And then the third is, I think, interoperability. How can you create, how can your world live across a lot of different formats and on a lot of different platforms, but still be recognizable immediately as your brand? And how can you engage an audience and then monetize your IP across lots of different platforms and formats? So those are 3 things to keep in mind: expandability, identity, interoperability, kind of evaluating your IP across those dimensions.
I think OpenArt's made it a lot easier for creators. Just in my own dealings of like not being a creator of sorts, it was probably one of the platforms that made me feel that I was really empowered the way that it's laid out, the way that it's used. But because it's easier creation, does that mean that is that better business, or are we going to have more noise? I think in the quote unquote like AI slop is the term, I think 2026. Chloe, do you feel like you're seeing a lot more of that, or do you see people taking it very seriously in trying to move it forward?
It's a great question. I think when I look at where we are now, it reminds me a lot of when TikTok just came out. Like, there's a surge of UGC content. A lot of people say it's also like really bad quality, but then as the tool becomes better, the market starts getting more educated and they grow with the tool. And now you're seeing so many prosumer, even professional level content made with these like UGC platforms, and I think this is a great example of where we could go next with the generative technology as well. At OpenArt, our goal is to, and also I think when it comes to easier creation, it's also a definition of, you know, you can of course generate 100 images within a few clicks, but it's not good content. What good content is actually still the storytelling behind. What we're trying to do is make it doable for everyone with a creative idea to make content without like $1 million or $1 billion budget. But in order for your content to get out there, to have an audience, you still need to have that human and creative storytelling, kind of like how Pixar created Toy Story or Disney did Snow White. It has to resonate with the audience. It has to have a story. And then from the tool perspective, we can make the character very consistent. We can make workflows for you to have world consistency. Like we showed up there, we can even provide motion sync for you to make the character act like more naturally and then be more like have more vibrant performance. But at the end of the day, everybody can put up a pretty face. It's not hard these days. The story behind who it's resonating with, I think is still the human part of it and what makes good content last.
I think it's really interesting and like a little bit of level setting. I went to the AI Summit. One of the things that when I talk to people, their biggest concern was like, they're not real people, they're synthetics, they're, it's digital. But then I reminded you, I come from brand. So, the gecko is not a real person, but you resonate. It's a character, it's built by a bunch of different people. So we're talking about synthetic characters that are built by people's ideas with lived experiences, with lived stories, and what that is. So where's the real money to be made in this? Do you think that as creators it's a good place to experiment? As creators is it another form of branding? And how do you move it past just like something cool into like monetization, IP, and further than that? Anybody really?
I can take a pass at this. I have a bit of a weird unanswered answer, maybe. I feel that what's so powerful about a virtual influencer, it's not something I've actually seen people pull off yet, and I'm like waiting for someone to do this. Maybe you and Jay should do this. But like, what a virtual influencer could do that a regular mascot like the Geico Gecko or a human influencer could struggle to do is that the virtual influencer could really scale like relationship building with their audience powered by AI in a way that is really powerful. So because they're an AI personality, like they could be DMing and having conversations with their audience. They could be building, sure, virtually mediated, but relationships with their audience on a much deeper level. And that feels so powerful to me about this class of entertainer. I think from the audience perspective, audiences really, we all really crave a direct connection to the brands and characters and influencers and celebrities that we admire. That's like so innate to humans, and we're going to be able to deliver those kinds of experiences to people. It's like pretty interesting and powerful. Now, maybe some people are kind of freaked out by that idea, but I don't know, that's like, entertainment is like a big game of make-believe. That's really all it is. And so I'm excited by a paradigmatic like shift in the way that we can engage with fictional characters to create more like personal interactive experiences with them. And I think that will create many more opportunities for just monetizing this IP.
There's a couple things from your question I want to touch on. One is that as these influencers start to rise, that it's the threat part, and then like, okay, everything's gonna be AI influencers. And I think as humans, we tend to feel threatened and go into fight or flight mode. But when Snow White came out, people were also worried that like, what's gonna happen to actors? And like, are all movies gonna be animated now? And it's been almost 100 years now, and we still have real movies with real actors. And when Toy Story came out, we still have real movies with real actors. So I think this becomes a new genre alongside 2D animation, CGI, real film that you go out and you shoot, and then there's going to be fully AI and hybrid AI. So I think that's one place of how we see the future, and we think about this as a new category that we're building within, and there's a lot of great people building within that category. And then on the monetization side, I think when there are new technologies, and I have personally made this mistake, we have this desire to create like brand new business models. But the business models are the same that they have always been. Like if it is a music artist, like you need people to listen to your music, and you need people in today's world to listen to it on Spotify or YouTube and get as many streams as possible. And if you're a visual creator, you need to put as much content as you can out and have as many people as possible watching that, and then most people to build up a YouTube channel, and then you can do what all IPs have done, is once you have that audience, you can start to have merch and licensing deals. So it's the same business model, and it's up to the creators to go and put in the time and effort to build up those audiences.
I agree. I think building on the same business model part, they could do essentially everything influencers can do. They can do live streaming, they can earn from YouTube views, from TikTok ads, merchandising, and then that's the part that's similar with the current business model. But what will be interesting in the future is that because they're built natively digital, they can be much more scalable and then much more easily integrated with other emerging technologies. So that's why, going back to what Savannah was saying, we're very excited to see what could be a future consumption platform that hosts all these IPs and characters. With the same example, like Monster Library, they have thousands of DMs in their Instagram inbox every day about people telling them, oh, I just went through a breakup, I just came out of rehab, I'm very depressed, and you talk to me. They share their emotions with these characters, even though they know they're not real, because they stand for the value, they stand for, there's a piece of their emotional resonance with these characters. And can we take that and then put it in a platform where people can interact with the IPs in a whole new way, be it in like a virtual reality, be it in like an LLM, like a text-based and chatbot interaction, and it doesn't just apply to like therapy like scenario. We have like Granny Spills, she's the character that gives funny relationship advice. A lot of people ask her like, oh, should I break up with my boyfriend? That could just be a fun game and interaction. Oh, my boyfriend did this today, should I break up with him? And we have people that give like knowledge. A lot of these influencers we work with are call themselves AI mentors. They teach people how to do these different like AI tools or use these different technology, and all these knowledge could be held on a whole new platform with different way of interaction that current social media or like platforms cannot really explore.
I think it's really interesting. It wasn't until like 5-10 years ago we were calling influencers, they're not creative. They're not creating stories. They're not doing all these things because they didn't fall in the bucket of creating films and that kind of elitist attitude of like, if you're not doing the thing I want you to do or I think is art, then it's not art. So I think that's super interesting. But I also think it goes back to, do audiences care anymore? And as a Gen Xer, I think my generation is the one that's really pushing that human aspect of everything we do. And I think everything is still built by humans, but is gone through the digital pipeline. And I think it's really interesting that in one breath, and I'm just gonna keep saying my generation because I finally get to say that I'm old. I think my generation says that in one breath while simultaneously talking to Alexa, while simultaneously talking to ChatGPT, while having those, maybe they're not intimate conversations, but they're conversations. And you're waiting for their feedback, and then you give feedback, and then you love working with them, and you put it in your Google Maps. And so I think that if you can get past that part of it and really understand that everybody's just looking for some sort of connection, whether it's digital, whether it's a tangible connection, I think that having the avenues for that are great. And as a brand and monetization, I think we're very in the early stages, which is why I think this conversation is really important, because all of you at any point, you have a point of view, and now you can choose the vehicle, right, that you want to have that point of view in. And what I love that you guys have all done is like, it's not just one person. You're building these worlds and all these really cool pieces. So on that note, sorry, put my glasses back on. Chloe, we heard that following the AI Influencer Summit, you're going to be launching something here. World's first AI Personality Awards. Can you share a couple of details on that?
Yeah, we were actually pitching Death Pixie if they're interested to be a part of it again as well. Because I think when you talk about AI influencers, I do think we're still in a very small AI bubble. People don't really, outside of the tech or AI world, know that AI is not real, or even understand what are these people, what's the business around them. And in order to push it to make more mainstream, we need to build an ecosystem together with the right partners, be on the distribution and monetization side, or on the creation side, or on the community side. And that's why we want to start this next phase after Summit called the AI Personality Awards of AI Personality Award of the year 2026. And then it is a joint partnership with 11 Labs and FanView with the goal of, first of all, making the concept a more mainstream idea and really bring in partners outside of the AI bubble. The second goal is to set the standard. I think a lot of these AI influencers, people ask questions that they're AI brain rot content because there's no great example of high quality standard. That Fixie is a really high quality standard of what it should be like, where it should go. And then we want to use this awards to showcase the best examples in different tracks, be it AI comedian, AI lifestyle, we have AI fashion, AI supermodel, AI singer, and a lot of these different tracks, but we want to let the world see what it could be the inspiration for this vertical. And third of all, there's a $100,000 cash prize, cashless, so everybody, if you're interested, welcome to join.
So now that I just saw everybody go, oh, I could totally do that. I think this is a good place to get some insight from you to great additional people here who can kind of help that journey for you. And I'd like to start with David. If you can just tell us what have you learned in your journey of creating, what you wouldn't do, where you've seen success, and then Savannah, where you've seen how you can expand the world from there once you have solid IP. David?
I'll start with what I wouldn't do, and I wouldn't be too precious. We're living in an age where if you're too precious, you don't get rewarded, especially in the beginning. The longer you take to start putting things out and see what's working and what the little things are that people comment on in your videos or your images, that's where you start to find your audience. And if you start to get too precious and not put out a photo or not put out a video because you thought something was wrong with it, you're just extending the amount of time until you find the thing that is working. And no matter what you do, it's going to take a lot of work and it's going to take a lot of time. So you might as well put yourself out there and put the work out as frequently as possible so you can decrease that amount of time to finding success.
Such good feedback. I actually had a similar take that I'll build on David's advice there. I think in terms of advice I have for a way, in a particularly modern way of building an audience and building momentum around your idea, your IP, is really recruiting your audience, collaborating with your audience to expand and grow the story around your IP and to promote your brand. I think that does require letting the reins, letting go of the reins a little bit, loosening your grip on complete control over the work, but letting your audience really take your world, your IP, your character, and kind of run with it, and get into that co-creative relationship with your audience. Because I don't know, has anyone here heard the phrase the IKEA effect? The IKEA effect refers to when you build a thing, when you put the thing together, you think it's more valuable. So if you build your kitchen table, you're going to value it more than if somebody just put it in your house. I think that there's a similar logic that applies to some of the stories that we love. If you have a chance to participate in shaping this thing, you're a fan for life. So that can really become like a loyalty and retention mechanic and a growth mechanic, is to invite your audience into the task of promoting your brand, posting about your brand, creating content about your brand, coming up with new ideas, side stories, backstories within the world of your IP. We're passionate about this at Wide Worlds. We give creators the tools to allow their audience to expand their IP and promote their brand. That's my advice.
I would say from as a producer and I'm an artist and having seen and shepherded a lot of the big generative artists that I will say the one thing, my mission this year is to get people to stop using the word taste. Taste is relative. What you come to the table with is point of view. And your point of view is going to mean something to me, but it may not mean anything to Savannah or David, but it may mean nothing to Chloe. And I look at it like that because I think of people like Darman. Not a big fan of his content. but millions of people do, and millions of people love it. I don't necessarily like Tyler Perry movies, but people do. It doesn't mean his movie's bad. It means he comes with a point of view that resonates with other people that doesn't resonate with me. And sometimes I think as artists, we utilize words like taste to make ourselves feel better than. And what we really should come to the table with now that we're in a place to reach worldwide people all over and the gatekeepers are gone, start coming to the table with you can just own a piece of the pie. You don't have to have the Academy Award-winning film. You just need your audience to watch your work, right? And so I think in that, failing in public, I think David and everybody would agree with, failing in public is super big. Be out there to take chances, be out there and put stuff out, and also find a trusted person who will tell you how much they hate your content. It will help.
Haters are good.
Otherwise, you're going to make a Megalopolis. Find somebody that says, I don't like this, change this, do this. I know we're getting close to time, but I do want to go down, and we'll start with Chloe. This way. What is your hot take? It can be anything. Generative AI technology. What's the hot take this week, this month? Or if anybody else has one, they can jump in before Chloe.
Good question.
I have two hot takes.
Give me some.
All right, first one, I'm short. First one is, I think it's never been a better time to create original IP. A lot of people disagree with this. A lot of people are like, oh, there's 10 IP in the world and that's it. We just have Star Wars, Fast and Furious, Marvel, and a couple others. There's nothing else. No one else can make any new IP. And I think that's totally wrong. People have a massive demand for entertainment content. Such a big demand that Hollywood can't even satisfy it. I think there's so much room for this long tail of micro fandoms to be activated now in the coming months because of increased accessibility of tools, because people are going to seek belonging to a community that they can really feel a part of more than just consuming content from the algorithm. So I really think there's never been a better time to create new and original IP. As has been implied on this panel, David mentioned a few times, it takes time. It takes time to invest in building your audience and the experimental process of figuring out the right audience IP fit. And then you have to just not be precious and get started. And so my second hot take is that I think the only thing stopping us is us. This is I think of just general philosophy I have about life, but it's our own fears, our own hesitation, our fear of failure that's stopping us from doing the thing. The tools now have never been more accessible and easy. Every day I'm oh wow, that's a fear of failure that's stopping me from doing that thing that I dream of. So I would say that, yeah, the only thing that's stopping us is us. You can just do it.
That was good. I don't know if this is a hot take, but for a lot of people to say that AI is going to take everybody's jobs and we're not going to have jobs anymore and it's all going to be over. And I have seen at our company, my greatest fear is that we can't find other people outside of the couple of people at our company who are really good at using these tools who are great. And I was just talking to somebody here, this is a new class of jobs, whether you're talking about coding, yes, maybe people aren't going to handwrite code anymore, but now you need people that know how to orchestrate 30 agents that are all writing code at the same time. It's a new job. In our case, we have people who used to be Unreal Engine artists. We don't really need them working in Unreal Engine as much anymore, but they now need to know how to use all the models that are in OpenArt, and we really, really need that. So this idea that AI is going to take away all the jobs and there's going to be no more jobs left, I'm seeing that that's not the case, and there's new things being created, and there are jobs that will morph and evolve, but don't let the doomers get you.
I totally agree. We also see these emergence of new type of careers and jobs and definitions. And I think one hot take I have is when in OpenArt we talk about what is AI actually changing on the supply and demand side. And And an interesting idea we had is it's not just making the supply much more because creation is much easier. It's also unleashing more demand for content because with AI, with live coding, with these tools, they're actually making our daytime job much more easy and then save us more time. And these new time created will be time on screens, time on looking for emotional connection, time looking for entertainment content. And then that is what's interesting to us. We're actually, the pie is getting bigger. We're not just kind of trying to take the screen time from existing platforms. And the second thing I think is similar to what Savannah mentioned is I think there will be a democratization of big IPs and also emergence of a lot of smaller, mid-sized IPs. On the big IP side, you see like the collaboration of Disney with OpenAI because they are worried about, what my take is that they are worried about their IP and their characters are not appearing on social media and people are spending most of their time on social media. What is the best way to still be relevant? It's by democratizing these creations, like fan-made content, take the way on it and keeping relevant. And then on the smaller IP side, you see a lot of these distressed IP looking for buyers because they have no way to monetize and no way to build an audience. But then the tools are making it much easier if you just open up and be able to learn. So I believe like we will see a restructure or like a better business model or environment for all the IPs out there.
Awesome. My hot take is that El Pollo Loco is better than KFC. That's my hot take. I want to thank everybody on the panel for participating. Obviously, we'll be around if you have any questions. And thank you guys. And just, again, go out in the future, do you, and somebody will fall in love with it. So thank you.
Okay.